Recently got a question in the Facebook group about doing lettering applique. And my thought is if you do the Inkscape lettering, take away the fill, add outline, it might just be that simple. So let's try that out. So here I have my standard starting 5x7. Almost always have 5x7 in landscape mode, properties, units, inches, 5x7. Close that out. Scoot this over. I am on Inkscape 1.1 and Inkstitch 2.0 for this. So let's jump right in here. I'm going to do these one letter at a time because one letter will be so much easier to work with. That's one letter. Let's make another letter. Let's make another letter. Let's make another letter. Okay, those are the words. That's the words in question. Let's go. Let's just shift and select, or shift and left click, selects them all. Go into text and font. If you don't have text and font right here, under text, text and font, it'll show up right here. I'm going to pan way up. I have Blackwood Castle, and anything, any font on your computer is going to show up in this list, unlike Inkstitch, which only has a few. This is going to be anything. Inkstitch has satin stitch lettering. This is just basic Inkscape lettering. So I'm going to switch to that. I'm going to hit it about 200%. Hit apply. Outstanding. I'm going to hit view and page grid because I'll make sure these line up. That's not what I wanted. Select them one at a time. Drag them down. They're going to line up with each other. It's not snapping, but I'm just going to line up the bottom of them right on top of that line. Pretty sure this will be easier as a single letter at a time. Okay, that's pretty close. I'm going to grab them all and I'm going to scoot this over so they fit in my 5x7 ring. So now what you want to do is go to fill and stroke, turn off the fill, hit stroke, and then under stroke style, we're going to do some dashes. I don't think it matters on which dash you use, but it tells Inkstitch, it has Inkstitch tell the machine you only want one line of thread. Highlight each one of those, path, object to path. That's it. That's all it takes. Hit delete, and just to be sure, we will do it again. Inkstitch. Troubleshoot. Now they're valid. That's okay. So anyway, I don't need to say it. It's going to do it once. That's fine. Now, you want each one of these letters to stitch out once. You definitely want it to stop. Inkstitch commands, attach commands, trim, and stop. Trim not so much, but you definitely want to stop the machine after this sewing. Trim is nice too. So I'm going to do that. Now, here is a tip. If your machine does not recognize trim or stop, all you have to do is make a different color for each one of these. Stroke color is black. We're going to make that stroke color pink. It don't matter what color thread you actually use, because your machine doesn't see what color you put in it. You could have it all the same color. Make that one color, make this one another color. It's because I filled. You want to actually drag that down to the stroke, or go into stroke and font, stroke paint, and actually select different colors here. Let's go yellow. I can't see that. Green. Dark green somewhere in there. Yeah, and then this one, make it, it can stay black. So I've got the trim and the paws in there, but it's also just by having each one a different color is also going to cut the thread and pause the machine. So either one. In this case, I did both. Completely unnecessary. One or the other should work. Do the G first, applique it, do a rough cut around it, and then do the A and applique it, and then do the rough cut around it. So I think, okay, I'm going to duplicate that one. Drop it down at the bottom so that both of them are down here. Yes. And then I'm going to group those two together. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Control D to duplicate. And then grab both of those, group them together. Going to do the same thing with that one. Control D. Grab that one and that one. And group them together. Last but not least, that one, Control D. That one and that one, group together. So, that, yes. Okay, so your machine's going to show you where it's gonna show you the path on the piece. You're going to put your fabric down, and then it's going to stitch again. And then you're going to cut that one away, and then it's going to go to the A, show you where it stitches, put the fabric down, stitch it down. Same thing with this one. It's going to show you where it goes, and then you're going to put the fabric down. It'll stitch it. The next one. So now what we need is a little piece representation for each one of these. So I'm going to grab that one. I guess I'm going to do the text, I guess. That one, and that one. And duplicate each one of those. So now the ones that are highlighted are duplicated. I'm going to ungroup just the ones that's highlighted. Okay, outstanding. Good so far. Thank you. And then group. So got all of them? Yeah. I don't want that inside there, I don't think. I want that one to be up here. Yes. Okay. And I don't need, and I actually don't want the Inkstitch commands on these. So let's see if we can remove Inkstitch commands with the command. And if I uncheck these, does it remove them? It does not. Okay, so I'll have to do that myself by doing this and this. I'm holding the control button on the keyboard down and clicking with the left mouse button so that I can select each one of those. And then I'm going to do Shift Delete to get rid of those. Now I don't have any more on those. So if I do this and then troubleshoot, they're all valid. So keeping these four here highlighted, I want to make sure that they stitch out without stopping. Inkstitch, visualize, realistic. And I can put, slow it down a little bit. I can put, where is it? Trims. There are no trims, and stops. There are no stops. Outstanding. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, now that I've done that, on these, we want these to be, so we don't want these to be that dotted line. We want this to be a solid line, and we want it to be fairly wide, maybe a little wider. Probably good. You'll have to try it on your machine, figure out where you want it to be. That's probably a little too much. Let's go back down. Let's go to 2.5. We'll try 2.5. Now you want that last one to be around 2.5. And you also want, now these are still highlighted, you want this last 4 set to be the same color, otherwise you're going to have to keep telling it to keep going. So I did it again. Unfill, pull that down. Okay, so now they will not wait for you to change thread. They'll just go ahead and run it out. So now I want to see what it looks like. Let's do a quick troubleshoot. Excellent. And let's do a quick visualize. And I am going to go ahead and select the trim and the stops. Okay. It's not stomping on this one. We need it to stop on this one too. We also need it to stop on this one. So let me go back. And so I'm going to go ahead and highlight both of these. And okay, we'll just right for now. Okay. Commands, attach command, trim and stop. If it's already there, it won't add it twice. So you're good, you're fine there. And then this one, that second one right there, we need to add a stop. Okay. Let's try the visualize again. Trims and stops, trim and stop. Looks pretty good. Does it once and then stops, does it again to hold it down, and then it stops right there so you can take it off the machine and cut away. And then it does this outline, then it stops. You put your fabric down, now it's going to do it again. Oh, there's no stop right there either. So that is on A. So we need to put one right there too. Make sure we select trims and stops. That green one. Trims and stops. Now we're there. Okay, first one shows you where it's at. Second one, hold your fabric down. And there's a stop and trim for each one of them. Gets all those done, and it comes back and does your little pretty satin stitch around the edges. You can use params to tighten that up, make it a little neater, but I think this should work. So y'all can let me know if it works or not. I would certainly appreciate it. That's all for now.